Story 1, The Woman in the Wardrobe. The wardrobe in my new room shouldn't exist. The apartment floor plan showed a single closet, small, shallow, barely big enough for folded shirts. But when I moved my bed away from the wall, I found a second door. Old. Wooden. Unpainted. Like it had been part of an entirely different house before someone built this room around it. I thought it was a utilities hatch at first. Until I opened it. Inside was a tall, narrow wardrobe. Empty except for a single wooden hanger swaying gently back and forth, though the air around it was completely still. And carved deep into the inside panel, in strokes so shaky they looked like they were done by someone trying not to scream, were the words, "Don't look at her." I laughed. Nervously. One of those if I don't laugh, I'll freak out laughs. That night, the wardrobe door opened by itself. I woke up at 2:13 a.m. to the sound of it creaking. At first I thought it was the bed frame. But then I saw it, the thin wardrobe door slowly drifting outward, inch by inch. I sat up, heart pounding. "Hello?" I whispered. From inside the dark wardrobe, someone whispered back. "Don't." The door slammed shut instantly. I didn't sleep. The next day, I taped it shut. Duct tape, packing tape, even a bit of rope tied through the handle. I pushed a chair in front of it for good measure. At 2:13 a.m. exactly, the rope snapped. Tape peeled itself loose in slow, sticky curls. The chair slid quietly to the side. And the wardrobe opened wide. I stared at it, every hair on my neck rising. The darkness inside looked thicker than it should, like black water. I didn't hear breathing. Or footsteps. Or whispering. What I heard instead was the hanger, lightly tapping, back and forth, hitting the wooden walls. Tap, tap, tap. Like someone brushing against it while shifting their weight. I knew she was standing there. I didn't look. Not yet. The fourth night, everything changed. I woke to someone gently touching my ankle. Cold fingers. Slow. Testing, almost curious. I jerked back and pulled my legs to my chest. The wardrobe door stood wide open. The hanger was still. The air inside felt aware. I whispered, "What do you want?" A voice floated out, soft, cracked, like someone whose throat was full of dust. "Just look at me." I shook my head violently and covered my eyes. The voice grew closer. "Right beside the bed now. Please. If you don't look, I can't leave." Her breath was cold against my cheek. "Please look at me." I dug my nails into my palms and kept my eyes shut. She let out a long, trembling exhale, like a sob someone was trying to swallow, and drifted back toward the wardrobe. The hanger swayed violently, then went still. The door closed. This morning, I found something new carved into the wood, below the original warning. Not frantic. Not shaky. Calm. Precise. "Please look at me tonight." Underneath it, scratched deeper, were 4 words that made me sick to my stomach. I'm so close now. Story 2, The Room That Writes Back. It started with a note. A small square of yellow paper stuck to the side of my bedroom door. I thought I left it there myself, maybe a reminder from a busy morning I'd forgotten. But the handwriting wasn't mine. Slanted. Pale. Almost tentative. It said, "Don't sleep here tonight." I laughed at it. Not because it was funny, but because if I didn't treat it like a joke, I'd have to accept the alternative. Someone had been in my room. So I crumpled the note and tossed it. And that night, I slept in my bed anyway. Nothing happened. At least, not then. The next morning, there were 3 new notes. One on the mirror. "Please. You have to listen." One on the closet door. "It knows you saw the first one." And one directly on my pillow. "Run." The paper was warm, like it had been held tightly in someone's hand. I told myself it was a prank by the landlord or a previous tenant. I spent the day checking locks, windows, even the attic crawlspace. Nothing. That night, I slept on the couch. At 3:11 a.m., I heard my bedroom door open on its own. And the sound of paper, hundreds of sheets, fluttering like wings. On the third morning, the notes weren't warnings anymore. They were conversational. One taped to the kettle. "Why did you leave?" One on the fridge. "We were talking." And on the inside of the bathroom mirror, nearly invisible until the steam made it bloom into clarity. "Come back to the room. Please." The handwriting had changed. Sharper. Hungrier. Like something was learning to mimic the way humans write. That night, I didn't sleep at all. At 2:57 a.m., I heard it, the sound of a pen dragging across paper. Slowly. Methodically. Taking its time. I crept toward the bedroom. The door was half open, breathing warm light into the hallway like something alive. On the floor, scattered like leaves, were dozens of notes. The newest one was still being written by a hand I couldn't see. The pen stopped. The paper slid toward me on the floor, scraping softly. I picked it up. It said, "I can hear you breathing." The window behind me creaked open, though I hadn't touched it. A draft swept through the room, sending all the notes spiraling upward in a paper storm. They clung to the walls, the furniture, the ceiling, every surface covered in frantic handwriting. I backed away. Something wrote another note against the floorboards with a heavy, deliberate stab of the pen. It slid toward me again. Just 4 words. "Don't turn around." I didn't. I walked backward out of the room, keeping my eyes on the notes, on the doorway, on anything but whatever was behind me. The pen wrote one last message on its own, the paper quivering as though held by an invisible hand. "It hates when you look at it." I slammed the door. Shoved a dresser in front of it. Went straight downstairs. And tonight? There's one new note on the front door. A fresh one, placed neatly, waiting for me to read. The handwriting is perfect now, smooth, elegant, confident. It simply says, "Let me in. I'm finished learning." Story 3, Santa Bleeds. Ryan Doyle never wanted to be Santa. He was a former Marine with an injured knee, a blunt temper, and a face that looked better scowling than smiling. But the VA checks were late that winter, and the mall in Edinburgh paid well for a Santa who could handle the Christmas rush. He thought they meant impatient parents. They did not. The first 3 days were normal enough, crying toddlers, sticky fingers, and parents who insisted on just one more picture. Ryan kept his head down, kept his fake beard straight, and kept the pain in his knee hidden. But on day 4, a boy stepped out of the line. 9 years old. Blonde hair. Blue jacket. Tag on his wrist like those hospital IDs for children. The name on it read, Oliver. He didn't smile. Didn't blink. Didn't even look curious. He walked to Ryan with the slow, precise gait of someone much older. Ryan forced the Santa voice. "Well, laddie, what can Santa get ye for?" The boy reached up, placed both hands on the arms of the red velvet chair, leaned in and whispered, "You're not him." Chills crawled down Ryan's back. "What's that, son?" Oliver tilted his head, studying Ryan's face like he was inspecting a mask. "He's late this year." Before Ryan could respond, the boy slipped a small, cold object into his gloved hand. A candy cane, snapped in half. The jagged end glinted like a blade. Oliver walked away before any staff noticed he wasn't supposed to. That night, Ryan found the same broken candy cane on the seat of his car. He didn't remember taking it with him. He didn't sleep. December 22nd. The mall was packed. Kids lined up around the fake snow displays. By noon, Ryan's knee felt like knives, so he asked for a short break. He stepped into the staff corridor, narrow, dim, with concrete floors and flickering bulbs. Halfway down the hallway, he heard the patter of small feet. He turned. Oliver stood at the far end, staring. "Kid, you shouldn't." Oliver sprinted. Too fast. Too silent. He crashed into Ryan, knocking him off balance. Before Ryan could grab him, the boy pulled something from his jacket. Not a toy. Not a candy cane. A paring knife. The blade flashed under the yellow corridor light. Then pain. Hot, sharp pain exploding across Ryan's thigh. Ryan roared, grabbing the boy's wrist, but Oliver twisted with inhuman strength and stabbed him again, the second blow sinking into the soft flesh near his hip. Ryan slammed the boy against the wall. The knife clattered onto the floor. Oliver didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't look afraid. He just smiled, small, satisfied, relieved. "You bleed just like him." Before Ryan could get answers, security came sprinting in. The boy slipped away, ducking under a guard's arms like smoke, and vanished into the maze of emergency exits. They searched the entire mall. Every hallway. Every bathroom. Every closet. Nothing. It was like Oliver evaporated. Ryan spent the night in the hospital. 7 stitches in his thigh. 11 in his hip. The doctors called him lucky. Ryan didn't feel lucky. The police questioned him for hours. Could the boy have been part of a group? Did he say anything else? "Have you seen him before?" Ryan kept remembering the hospital wristband. The unnatural strength. The smile. And the sentence that haunted him worst. "You bleed just like him." On Christmas Eve, while he was still in recovery, a nurse brought him a package. "No return address," she said. Came through the night shift. Inside the box was a brand new red Santa hat, stitched with thick, black thread. And beneath it, a single candy cane, snapped perfectly in half. A folded card lay at the bottom. Ryan opened it with shaking fingers. The handwriting was small and neat. Too neat for a child. It said, "See you next year. Don't be late this time." Story 4, Krampus Took My Dog. Bavaria, winter of 1943. Anna Fisher was 8 years old the first time she saw the creature. Snow had buried the farmhouse nearly to the windowsills. Her father was away at the front, her mother stretched thin, and their old mutt, Bauer, had become Anna's only real companion. He slept on her feet at night, followed her to the woodshed, and growled whenever German patrols passed by on the road. War made everything colder. But that winter night? Something colder still came out of the trees. On December 5th, Krampusnacht, the wind howled against the house like a living thing. Anna couldn't sleep. Bauer paced restlessly at the door, tail rigid, fur bristled. At 1:17 a.m., he let out a single bark, sharp and terrified. Anna slipped from her bed and peeked through the frost-laced window. A shadow stood at the tree line. Tall. Too tall. At least 3 meters, towering over the pines. The creature's shape was half man, half beast, skeletal legs bent the wrong way, shoulders ridged with bone, and 2 massive antler-like horns curling into the black sky. As Anna watched, it stepped forward, hooves thudding softly on snow without sinking an inch. It raised its head. And its red tongue, longer than a whip and glistening, slid out between jagged teeth. Bauer growled so low Anna felt it in her ribs. The creature smiled. Then lifted something that clattered softly, a chain, studded with hooks, each one coated in something dark. Anna backed away from the window, covering her mouth. "Mama," she whispered. But her mother slept heavily these days, exhausted from rationing, chores, fear. So Anna stood alone in the cold, staring as the creature took one more deliberate step toward the house. Bauer snapped. The dog burst out of the door as soon as Anna unlatched it, charging into the night with fury she had never seen in him. "Bauer! No!" But he was gone. Anna reached the porch just in time to see the creature turn its head toward the barking dog. It didn't run. It didn't lunge. It simply vanished. One heartbeat it was there. The next, it was behind Bauer. The dog yelped once. A sound cut brutally short. The creature lifted Bauer by the neck with one clawed hand. The dog kicked, paws slicing the air. Anna screamed as the creature tightened its grip. A crack. Then silence. The creature raised the limp body and sniffed it, almost curious. Then it turned its head toward Anna. The red tongue unrolled again. A grotesque, mocking greeting. Anna's scream finally woke her mother. By the time lanterns were lit, the creature was gone, and so was Bauer. They searched the woods, calling his name until dawn. Snow swallowed their footprints almost as fast as they made them. At sunrise, Anna's mother found something in the barn. Bauer's collar. Snapped cleanly in half. There wasn't a single drop of blood on it. The next morning, December 6th, St. Nicholas Day, Anna woke to a smell so foul it clung to the walls. On the farmhouse roof hung something large. They both saw it at the same time. Bauer. Or what was left of him. His skin had been peeled away entirely, stretched out and nailed across the roof beams like a grotesque banner. His empty, flayed body hung beneath it, swaying lightly in the winter wind. Anna's mother fell to her knees. Anna didn't cry. She couldn't. She only stared at the stretched skin above her home, hung like a sick parody of Christmas decoration. They moved away by spring. But that didn't stop the creature. For years afterward, until Anna was well into adulthood, she received a small, plain package every December. No return address. No message inside. Each one contained a single object. A clump of dog fur. Coarse. Dark. Unmistakably Bauer's. Every year. Even after 1950. Even after she changed her address. Even after she married. Even when she told no one. The last package arrived the winter before she died at 87. Inside, one tuft of aged, brittle fur. And a small note, written in perfect old German script. I never forget my gifts. Story 5, 2 Deliveries from Hell. The endless fifth floor. Walt had delivered to plenty of sketchy addresses in Billings, Montana. Snow-covered streets, abandoned buildings, old apartment complexes, nothing surprised him anymore. But the fifth floor of the abandoned Grayson Apartments was different. The building had been condemned for decades, yet someone still wanted a package delivered there. Walt's GPS led him to a narrow alley. He parked the truck and trudged through snowdrifts to the entrance. The front door groaned like it had not been opened in a century. Inside, the hallway was black except for Walt's flashlight. Christmas decorations, faded, moldy, yellowed from decades, lined the walls. He frowned. Someone's trying to be festive, he muttered. The stairs creaked under his boots. He counted, first floor, second, third, up to 5. The fifth floor was different. The hallway stretched endlessly. Door after door, all identical, all decayed. No matter how far Walt walked, the end never came. His flashlight beam reflected off broken tiles, peeling wallpaper, and a strange, sticky substance on the floor. Then he heard it. A woman humming. Soft. Lullaby-like. Hello? Walt called, his voice echoing down the corridor. No reply, just the hum, now closer. He walked faster. The hum became a whisper. Don't leave. Don't leave. A shadow detached itself from the wall. A faceless old woman, her face smooth where eyes, nose, mouth should be, gliding toward him without making a sound. Walt panicked, sprinted back toward the stairs, but the hallway stretched further, twisting impossibly. Each step forward seemed to loop him back to the same door he passed a moment ago. He saw a window. He leapt toward it, hoping to escape. Below, nothing but a sheer drop. In desperation, He jumped and landed on the garbage truck below, barely alive. Bloodied and shaken, Walt realized the building had tried to kill him. The red door. 2 days later, Walt tried again. Another delivery, this time a decrepit house on the edge of town. The door was painted bright red, oddly inviting amidst the snow. He knocked. Silence. Footsteps answered. Small, childlike. Walt peered inside. Tiny footprints led into the wall. Literally, into the wall. The plaster was smooth. No door, no opening. Just footprints disappearing. Walt hesitated. Then the air grew icy. A faint giggle echoed. Walt shook it off. He had to finish the delivery. 5 minutes later, the police were called. They discovered the body of a 4-year-old girl, stuffed into the fireplace, still warm. Walt had been outside, knocking the door, when she was killed.